Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 Summer Promotion Wadid Tournament. I am Atlas. This is the Valdanalist. And we just witnessed the Nobel Prize winner himself, Wadid, taking down his opposition with absolute ease, controlling all of his teammates' computers as well, controlling the battlefield, just dictating to us exactly what to say on this broadcast with how extraordinary his performance was.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked. I don't think we've seen such a Nautilus performance just yet.
No, I don't think
so. Out of any player ever. No. In any role.
I didn't actually know Nautilus could do some of the things that Wadid did with Nautilus.
He's showing us new mechanics.
He is.
It's pretty crazy. And
I feel like Nautilus has extra buttons when Wadid's piloting it.
I hope that now he's going to show something else so he can grace us with even more knowledge.
I just want to learn. And
yeah,
I think that's the only way that I'm going to be able to learn is to watch Wadid do stuff. So we'll see whether he's playing support next game. Maybe he's going to be playing mid lane or something like that to teach us exactly how that role is supposed to be played as well. But it was a pretty comfortable victory for Griffin in game number 1, but it was also a very comfortable draft as far as what they were able to pick up. So now SEORABEOL Gaming able to go back to the drawing board and might give us something a little bit better. Cacao was super far ahead on his Olaf, but it didn't actually matter in the end because they had a Cinecom. They're up against one of the more blue variety, as LS would say. And, yeah, they just couldn't get over the line.
Yeah, great scaling in their comp. SEORABEOL had multiple chances, but there was a couple of big missteps around some of those dragons that just let the game go on for a little bit too long. The second that... I wanted to say G2. That's that's not this team. Griffin did take that Mountain Drake. It felt like the game was just going to extend too far. And that was kind of the nail in the coffin right from there. And yeah, I mean, congrats to them. We'll see if Songyun and the guys on SEORABEOL can try to pull this back. But it did feel like UCal and Viper were too much for them to handle after they got scaled up.
All the memeing aside, I think that Viper and UCal did have a fantastic game. I think UCal stood out a lot on his Azir in the mid lane. He was pretty quiet in the earlier stages, but absolutely crushed the lane against the Syndra, which was, of course, I believe, picked into... No, it was a priority pick, so that was the blind pick there from Dan Chung, and it just did not work. So there is the winner of the series on your screen right there. Wadid, great performance with his debut, but he's going to have to back that one up. With a win here if he wants to give Griffin that chance up against Team Dynamics tomorrow in the winners bracket final, the winner of which will be promoted or re-promoted back into the LCK for Summer here in the final promotion tournament, the Wadid promotion tournament, the very last one as we move to franchising in 2021.
Yes, so SEORABEOL on blue this time around, Griffin on red. We'll see if that mixes things up. I believe we did have Graves last banned in game number 1. I feel like if Cacao is going to pop off the way he did in game 1, and they're going to feed him a lot of the CS, maybe put him onto some kind of carry jungler rather than an Olaf.
Well, now SEORABEOL have gone back. They did their homework. They're like, oh, what do you do to ban out Sword? Well, you ban Jace and Ornn.
Yes.
And then you're basically done. Griffin gave them a bit of a hand there as they banned away the Aatrox, sort of the other one that Sword does like to try his hand on. And there is the Graves ban. And the Trundle first pick likely to be coming in.
Yeah, you have to imagine the Olaf. I don't know if I want to see that again, even though it was Cacao's most played as... Did they just not ban? Or did this bug? Okay, there it is. Varus comes in. That was a little bit strange.
Our client's just trying to deal with the magnificence that is Wadid.
True.
And
it's hard to keep up.
It's struggling a little bit, yeah.
They just are so excited to see what he's going to play that they don't really care about the bans.
No, that's true. Yeah. And this Trundle stood out like a sore thumb, but the set is going to be switched over to. As, of course, that Varus ban coming in, Griffin are going to be able to take away something like an Aphelios if they would like to. But let's see if Sword does grab himself some priority instead to try and get himself the best top matchup. Likely that set will be heading towards the top lane, but could also be flexed around. Of course, very flexible is the set. This does mean that the Trundle does come through.
Yeah, Trundle very high priority here in Korea nowadays. We see a lot of first picks, even some bans on Trundle on blue side. And so Tarzan going to be pretty happy to pick that one up once again. I do want to see what Kakao is going to pick into the jungle now. Will it just be the Olaf once again, or will he mix it up? As this time around, Viper, even with MF available, he is still going to pick up this Kalista.
Yeah, Kalista certainly still high priority. SEORABEOL Gaming likely to take away the Aphelios here, but we'll see whether they pair it with the Taric to try and deny that from Woodid. Think about that. like, the most fabulous champion in the game and the most fantastic player in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know whether we could handle that combination, as Kakao is once again going to be jumping on the Olaf. Theoretically, a counter matchup that he's picked himself into, because we did see a lot of Trundles being picked into Olaf, but to mixed results. As Sungyun's deciding that the Aphelios is not what he wants, and it's going to be the misfortune for the bullet time that Kalista struggles to bounce out of quite early enough.
Yeah, and because she's so short range compared to other AD carries, if you get her in a good position to just unload,
God,
that's going to be, oh, here it is.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Oh, man. We just gotta
This is truly outrageous.
Truly.
Cannot handle. Okay, well, I'm going to try to ignore the fact that Woodid's going to be playing Taric this game. We'll have to see which skin he's going to utilize as well. I think that the Lifeguard Taric is certainly very, very good.
It would suit him.
It would. Certainly would. Especially as the weather is heating up, you know.
Yeah.
Got to play it safe by the water. He is, of course, a swimming instructor as well, as is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
He's an
pro surfer, I believe.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I heard about that. He was telling me in one of his amazing stories.
Yes.
Backstage. He has, like, people gather around him in a circle for story time.
Yeah.
It's not officially called that, but because everybody's just so
because he's a sage.
Magnetically attracted to his presence.
Yeah.
It's kind of just what happened. So he was telling us about his surfboarding adventures, and just casually mentioned he was going pro in that as well at the same time.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what he can do on this Taric. No doubt it'll be outrageous.
Yep, and extraordinary. Syndra going to be banned away here. I don't know whether they necessarily needed to. UCal had that on lockdown, but maybe seeing that the Azir is not available, trying to mix things up. And we'll see whether it is going to be UCal's pick that they're going to lock in next, or whether they try and get something for Sword to blind pick. I would assume mid laner will be taken away here, but they do know more than likely that the set is heading top lane. So
yeah,
no Corki or Azir this game is good news for most of us.
We did see Nova play 4 games of set. He's 4-0 on the pick, which does mean that it can be flex. Nova does know how to play the pick. Of course, it's 4-0 in Challengers, and they were the best team, and Sungyun is a pretty amazing AD carry. So, you have to take the 4-0 with a grain of salt, but I'm sure he is comfortable on the champion at least, as UCal will be playing LeBlanc. What is Dan Chung going to play?
Well, this was the Kuzan answer, and the Lissandra is going to be locked away. Worked quite well outside of getting solo killed for first blood for Kuzan. They were still able to win that series as Nova. Thinking about heading towards the Yuumi option. His Yuumi wasn't too bad, if I remember back to his time on Jin Air Green Wings. And 1 second to go. We'll see whether it does get locked away. No, it's the Silas to be locked in here. So it will be Nova's set in support.
Yeah, I was looking at Tal's stats as well. He hasn't played even 1 game of set, which is weird, you know. He's played a lot of different champions. I think he has the biggest champion pool out of anyone on his team. Well, he and I guess Kakao is maybe 1. No, Kakao's actually behind. Tal is about 2 picks ahead.
Okay.
So, interesting. But we do have the Mordekaiser as a selection up in the top side for good old Sword.
Yeah, does have to dig pretty deep into his champion pool here, but did have a few games on the Mordekaiser during the regular season. I don't know. Should I look at the win rate? I guess I will. He's currently a 25% win rate. He's played it 4 times. It's his 3rd most played. But we'll see whether this is going to get him closer to that 50% mark, or whether SEORABEOL Gaming are going to bring us to a 1-1 tie-broken game. I think that if Wadid has anything to say about it, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and especially with the way Game 1 went, it did look like Griffin were playing pretty well today. Of course, the compositions are going to have a pretty big effect on the way that the game does go. When you've got Songyun on MF, and a composition that loves to just run straight at you, again, another pretty sinful comp here from the side of SEORABEOL Gaming. They're just going to be looking to do exactly that, just run straight at you and peak in the mid-game and then fall off, up against, obviously, some much better scaling on the side of Griffin with the Callista and Ward. Even the LeBlanc does a decent job as players have gotten better and better on the champion in the late game with their positioning. With, of course, Wadid in the lineup, so it's 2-0.
Yeah, it is already a 2-0, isn't it? It's I was expecting maybe Irove would get subbed in just so that people would be given some false hope, but not to happen here, as Wadid is going to be piloting the absolutely glorious Taric there on the bottom side of the map, and we'll see what we're going to learn about the extra capabilities that a Taric has, much like he showed us on the Nautilus with his expert performance. Nova, actually, interestingly, playing what was one of Irove's absolutely favorite champions, and his name very similar to Irove as well. You've got some V's in there and
O's.
Yeah, some O's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, decent amount of vowels
in
there. Both of their, well, actually, Irove has 3 vowels in his name. Nova only has 2.
Oh, dang. All right. Well, maybe they're not similar at all, and maybe it's getting a little bit late, but that's fine. What I do like Griffin's comp for the most is their ability to secure objectives. They can put the jungler in the Death Realm, and then they've got Smite and Rend to lock down a Dragon or a Baron. A little bit ironic, given the fact that Griffin do love to just give away dragons throughout the majority of the early game.
Yeah. They also have Mordekaiser to just turn and ult the jungler.
Yeah.
And say, see you later, bud.
Or say hi, bud, because he's putting him in the Death Realm with him. You know? It's like, oh, did you want to...
Look at Wadid.
Oh my goodness, he's playing the Cloud Templar skin. I can't believe I didn't say that that was going to be the best one. Oh man,
It's okay.
I'm disappointed in myself.
More
but of course,
more of the norm for us. More disappointment.
Yeah.
But that's the second time they've done that, where they will pick up a scanner and scan around the bottom side of the jungle and see if they can take away any of the vision. As it looks like a pretty fast start here from Songyun and Nova. Really getting in their face, and will be able to hit level 2 first.
Yep, but Wadid is just making his presence known here in this lane. Exactly the positioning that he wants. As you can see, Viper are getting pushed in. Sorry, Griffin are getting pushed in. But it's no harm, no foul at the moment. Things should be okay. As
Mode game is on point.
Absolutely on point. There's been a few people that have mentioned that on Twitter thus far. I do need to apologize. My old analysis of Darius's passive doing magic damage is entirely wrong, because that got changed in the Juggernaut patch like years ago. Just shows how much of a boomer I am.
You're a lol boomer.
I am very much a boomer.
Which, you know, is most of the time a good thing, because you have good perspective on where the game has come from. But in circumstances like that,
when there's been like
it did sail over my head as well, the analysts.
Well, when there's been like a million patches since we started playing the game, it is very hard to keep up with like what's still true and what isn't.
Yeah, especially if you don't play that champion, it's like, well,
yeah.
It can be rough.
As Danchong does get himself out of the way. Tarzan getting in there with a decent pillar, but the Claw of Doom, pretty good. Or the Glacial Path, depending on what you want to call it. I think Claw of Doom's way better as Cacao.
I'm going to call
Hopefully
it
going to take
Mr.
all of this.
Hand.
Mr. Hand?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's my choice.
Okay. Good for you.
You can call whatever you want. That's my name.
I'm going to call it Wadid.
Okay.
Maybe every ability in the game should now be root. Yeah. Every ability should just be turned into like verb plus Wadid or something like that. Yeah.
Fates Wadid.
Axie Wadid.
Axie Wadid.
That's what Cacao's about to use.
his Axie Doodle.
There it is, Axie we did, but it does miss. Death's Grass sidestep there by Cacao nicely. But they get a flash, and that is exactly what SEORABEOL Gaming were looking for. Good start so far.
Yeah, pretty proactive, you could say, for an Olaf who sometimes likes to just chill in his jungle, farm up, and then explode onto the map with a couple items.
Yep.
Sangin and Nova did take a little step back after starting the lane pretty aggressive. They're letting it push back into them, which is interesting because the Olaf is heading bot. I am sure this would make LS very happy if they're actually manipulating their lane.
Oh my
for
goodness.
A gank.
That is extraordinary.
But
surely that's not what's happening.
He's probably just going to ward and go do his crux.
Yeah. Well, that is the face breaker Underwood did, but that is not the target you want to hit. He is immortal. And of course, nothing's going to come of it. Certainly a lot of minions there as Tarzan. You can smell there might be some funny business coming through here. Great chains land onto Danchung in the mid lane. Is now Tarzan looking for Cacao. Another face breaker lands onto Wadid. Sangyun looking for the extra damage, but it's Wadid just expertly baiting the members of SEORABEOL Gaming in there. And of course, the emote game is super well done. G2 being spammed, and then his own name. Just incredible stuff.
Yeah. One of the things that Wadid did talk about when he was casting with us was he was hoping for more Korean players to be more, to have a bit more fun. He liked the EU style of, you know, where the players trash talk each other, and there's like a lot of banter that goes on and emote spam and stuff like this. So I'm happy he's actually playing and showing that to us, because we do need a little bit more of that here in Korea.
I think he's in a good lane for it as well, because Sangyun was, of course, a bit of a prankster in his time in the LCK, as Yukal continuing to try and get more damage, but does land the next chain onto Danchung, who's just not having the series of his life right now, as the Ocean Drake is taken by Cacao, but he does have to flash to get himself out of the way.
And this mid lane, oh boy.
Yukal gets himself out, but the Ignite ticks down, and that is another LeBlanc getting a first blood in a solo kill.
There you go. Yukal showing him the way. The way to play it here in the mid lane, as, you know, this looks totally different from the first time we saw. I mean, yes, there was the solo kill, but at least in the last game we did have, I believe it was Kuzan, that was able to keep up in CS, but he's also down 17 CS and gets solo killed very early on. It's not looking too good for Danchung, as obviously Yukal is a step above at the moment.
Yeah. Yukal gets in, lands the chains. And,
probably Wadid was watching this and telling Yukal what to do.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. I mean, he's right now underneath it. Yeah, see?
Yeah, see?
유칼 뭐냐고. 라인. 그냥 유칼인데. 라인 좋아 라인.
It's like, what is Yukal, basically?
Well, he's super good.
Actually, he said, now you want to dash in. And
yeah, that's what I thought.
He was explaining it, yeah.
I thought he was micromanaging.
The thing is, it's Wadid, so he doesn't have to use a lot of words.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
well, if you're on a team with Wadid, it's more like telepathy.
Yeah.
You know?
Just kind of
he doesn't need to yeah, he doesn't need to actually communicate. He's on a team that was actually famous for not needing to communicate too much either. That was, of course, CV Max's style with Griffin originally. As now, Yukal dashing forward once again. Does find Cacao, though. That's a good ulti, but I don't know whether there's quite enough damage, as Cacao misses the undertow, and Yukal just walks away.
Yukal's totally fine. Notice he picked up Merc Treads early with that extra gold. Flashes a little emote. Gotta love it. That's just the Wadid working through him.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As actually, Yukal was a little bit of a prankster himself. A little bit of a scallywag.
Oh, I like the word scallywag. Yeah. That's a good one. No pirates in this game. Oh, no, Misfortune is there, so scallywag makes a lot of sense.
It fits. We'll allow it. And yeah, take note, guys, of Yukal's builds. I know a lot of lower level players would have gone back with that first blood gold and bought a Lost Chapter straight off the bat, but sometimes the tier 2 boots are actually better, because it did allow him to negate much of the Lissandra damage and survive that gank.
Yeah, also mitigate a lot of the CC that is certainly provided by the Lissandra. Not as much on the shoulders of Dan Chung to like win a lane or anything this time around. I think Syndra needs to be ahead to be able to do anything, and he certainly was not. But this time he's on Lissandra, and Lissandra is much better as just being a champion, you know? As Wadid's going to walk on over, gets the cannon minion, because of course he's the best player in the world. That was actually amazing.
This guy, oh, and he completed his quest too.
Yeah, there we go.
Now he's got wards.
It's just great to be able to watch the greatest player to ever exist, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're just graced by his existence,
Yeah.
basically. Now, we're so lucky that we got to cast today.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
No, the EU talent.
I almost hope that they lose tomorrow so that they can play again the next
play
day.
the best of 5.
Yeah. In fact, if they do lose, that's exactly what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Just making sure that we get as much Wadid in our lives as possible.
No doubt, he's already planning it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It has already been ordained.
Yep. He has the least amount of CS per minute. Again, that's all planned. He's trying to feed his AD carry.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. Trying to stack up his relic shields and stuff, you know? What you want to do. UCAR clears out another minion wave. Nothing's happened this game, guys. That's why we're just talking about Wadid being amazing, because actually nothing else is going on.
Yeah.
Tal's got enough dashes to get away from every ability that Mordekaiser throws down. Kakao took a Rift Herald at some point. Not entirely sure when that was. Sword misses yet another cannon minion.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But Sword going to flash very, very quickly. Has that one back available again, though, so that's good news. And Kakao just moves on in, puts down Shelly. And, of course, takes a few minions there with his undertow as well. Sword pokes her eye out just a little bit, but none of the turret blades actually...
It didn't look like even Olaf got them.
Maybe he did. Maybe we just didn't see it because it was too far.
You know, they made that change. We were talking about patches where, like, there's a certain range where the jungler will still get it, but he was so far away that I think maybe he actually just missed it.
Well, that would be sad.
And they were expecting Tal to be there to take up the gold, but it didn't happen.
Well, very odd. Griffin lying in wait here as Dan Chung might have to self-ult. Is level 8, remember. So he's going to be able to. Teleport coming through from Sword. Viper there behind him in a pincer maneuver now set up by Griffin. Tal picks up the Death Realm as it is going to be the Olaf taking the Infernal Drake. Cosmic Radiance expertly placed onto Tarzan and Viper here by Wadid. As Nova in the backline does have to flash away. Fate's Call will get Wadid to safety, who just jumps himself over the wall just so expertly. But
Did you
otherwise...
see his double dazzle?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm so good at this
I
game.
could barely talk about it because like it sort of overwhelmed my brain. But no one died.
I really want him to listen to this cast. Just gotta hear
It's all right.
the praise we are showering on him. I'm sure he's very used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Never say a bad word about him otherwise. Absolutely.
But taking a look at this fight, I was surprised that Griffin weren't able to get more, as we're seeing the return of Lissandra here in the promotion tournament, and just why she was played so much in the past. Yes, they changed the way that Aftershock works, but still pretty decent for the Lissandra as she stays alive against the gank. And even through all this, like, where's the damage?
Yeah.
Why does nobody on the side of SEORABEOL die? There were 2 people stunned in the pit as more action.
Well, it might just be Tarzan dying, and it is. They're going to be able to take away a red buff as well. Back on the board now is SEORABEOL Gaming, but they are only even in gold. This time, we're looking at another Mountain Drake, but we've got a Infernal and an Ocean to augment it. And if they can get to these next 2 Drakes, one after the other, then maybe their power spike is going to be enough as Sword taking a lot of damage here by Tal. You can see Kakao's up here, but he is looking to go back home. Sword not wanting to walk out into this lane once again. Sword doing absolutely fine, though, as you can see. He's ahead in farm, and that's completely all right.
As we take a look here, it's just a straight-up 3-man invade. Not sure how they were able to get past the control ward in the river brush, but they did. And Kind of unfortunate placement or positioning, I suppose, for Tarzan. He was not expecting that with some of the vision that they did have.
Yeah, must have walked via top lane or something like that. But you can see Griffin have been able to stretch out that gold lead a little bit more. That has a lot to do with Lissandra being extraordinarily far behind. Yeah, UCal is trashing that lane almost entirely. 40 CS in the lead at the moment. And of course, Kakao is still ahead as far as the jungle farm is concerned, but I just don't know what else he's going to be able to do to get them over the line the further this game goes on. So they are on a timer once again, as Nova does sidestep the Dazzle quite well, but he's still going to die. Haymaker comes in, show stops just for fun, and of course Woodid's there representing G2 as this set goes into the death chamber.
Perfect timing on the emote. That's all I have to say about that play. Greatly done.
He also landed the Dazzle pretty fantastically as well.
Sure.
And he pressed his exhaust button.
He also flashed.
Yeah.
So quality gameplay there.
I think the best players utilize all of their buttons at all times. You know, if it's not on cooldown, obviously you didn't do enough.
A worse player probably would have been like, oh, I could probably save my flash here, you know.
Yeah.
No reason to do it, but why did understood
no, of course
that in that position, the amount of time you save and securing the kill is more important than saving your summoners, especially in a low kill game like this. So shout out to Woodid. He's just teaching us even more as we go into just another champion. And it's not even champion specific, but it's just
no, it's not. It's just
so
teaching us how to play fundamental League of Legends in a way that I just didn't even realize was possible. It is. I hope you guys at home are learning as much as us. As we can have a look at the man himself here. Just flashes, misses it on purpose.
He zoned it.
Yeah.
To get him towards Tarzan.
Yeah, zoning flash. Make sure that they get the ult out of him as well as giving an assist over to Tarzan. Just exemplary play.
Yeah, just really good job.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say that he missed that, but I think
they just don't understand.
Yeah, if you're smart enough, you know that
they don't get it yet.
Yeah, it wasn't a miss. It was just more skill than most people can comprehend.
So now with this flash down, he's probably going to try to pull off a bait play.
Yeah, that's it.
At the Dragon, I would imagine. But again, you know, I'm not really on his level, so we're just going to have to wait and see. But you can see that SEORABEOL is going to put down this Shirley.
Yep.
And use that to try to zone, but unfortunately they weren't in position to take the Drake. Usually you drop it down and then you rush down the Drake, but they just kind of put it down and then ran backwards. As it seemed like they didn't want to take the fight just yet.
Yep. Tal picks up a Fate's Call. I wonder whether you can actually connect that to someone. Not sure how Fate's Call works with the hijack. But does have it.
Look at UCal. He's down there on the bottom side of the map, and he's a big part of the reason why SEORABEOL feels so uneasy right now.
Yeah.
Because they have this thorn in their side that is this Fed LeBlanc that can easily get into the back line and just disrupt Songyun, who would love to just sit back and throw an ult in.
Oh, UCal jumps on over, misses the chains there onto Dan Chung, and now it looks like SEORABEOL have found themselves a couple of members. But Fate's Call is going to keep Woodid alive. Another Fate's Call flying through as well, off to the other side. But of course, it's the best Cosmic Radiance we have ever seen in our lives. Not quite enough there as Woodid. He's trying to 1v9 the team fight, but he just cannot do it. SEORABEOL Gaming able to take down a couple of members of Griffin already, make that 3. Now Nova is trying to run for the hills, but I have a feeling UCal is going to be able to catch him. Does want to land these chains, and does it.
Yeah.
As Sword off to the side. Yeah, he's going to be able to take a Grom. So, player of the team fight there is Sword.
I want to look at this team fight again and find out how, somehow, the Set ultimate went wide, the MF ultimate went wide, I didn't see Lissandra ult, and SEORABEOL were still able to win the team fight, even after Woodid was so brilliantly able to save them when they all got knocked up. And I think it's just because of this knockup here. That must be it. So everybody's just grouped up, and then they're all stuck on Lissandra's ultimate. So it was actually Dan Chung with a really nice play. He gets in there on perfect timing. He's able to ultimate right after they're all knocked up. He negates the Cosmic Radiance, essentially, and is able to carry that one. So props to him for turning the fight on its head, as it looked very much Griffin-sided.
Yeah,
Not
actually,
the case after he went in.
I thought that with the Cosmic Radiance working so well, all jokes aside, would be an opportunity there for Griffin, but not going to be the case, as Nova helps take down some of these minions here in the mid lane. Sangyun moves on in as well. He's behind by a little bit of farm, but now 1-0 and 2. The misfortune is very frightening. SEORABEOL Gaming do certainly have a chance now to even out this series. Soul Point at 20 minutes into the game. And it'll be 3.5 until the next dragon is going to be available. So SEORABEOL now have been able to accelerate the game to potentially a fast enough pace to give them the advantage that they're looking for after they lock down that last remaining Drake.
Yeah. And it's crazy the effectiveness that Lissandra has even on such low economy. I mean, she went for a relatively cheap item. She's down like 60 CS right now on the LeBlanc, but she still had such a greater impact in that fight just because of the way Dan Chung was able to get in there and use his abilities. That was really nice to see. Not something you see very often. Generally, it's you have a big wallet and you smack your opponent with it. But not the case. We're economy Lissandra this game.
I've got a bit of a 1-3-1 scenario happening, just laning phase once again by the looks of things for both of these squads. As Sangyun cleans up minions in the mid lane, protecting that outer turret that is still very healthy, actually. The sword here on the bottom side of the map will answer Tal, and does manage to lock down that siege minion that time, so that's good news. Kakao lying in this brush. Might be able to pick off sword here as they throw down a ward. Wadid moves on over. Tarzan gonna get ulted back there by Nova. Cosmic Radiance comes out pretty early. There must be a reason for it. It's Dan Chunk trying to hold on to that ult. Viper dashing around. The Fate's Call not able to get the knockups they were looking for. Tal is going to be able to put Viper into the death chamber if he wants to, does so. But Viper's still trying to kite him around. It's a couple of kills there to the bottom side, as Yukao does at least manage to take down Sangyun before he kills everyone and dashes over the wall there to safety. But you can see SEORABEOL still winning out that team fight.
Yeah, that they do. We had Tal on the top side. While there was all that action in the river, he was chasing down Viper, who did not have flash. And even though Wadid expertly used his exhaust to try to save his life, it wasn't enough, as the Sylas just a little bit too hard to get away from, even as the Callista. As we'll take another look at it here. Again, this is another fight where it's like Sangyun is going to ult into nothingness, basically. Like, just does 0 damage on the Tarzan. Set ultimate is really pitiful. And then Griffin still lose. As Sword couldn't quite lock down the Lissandra. Definitely, out of the 5 members, probably the worst person to ult.
Yeah, although it does stop her from being able to AoE the rest of your team.
I suppose.
And the Frozen Thralls get denied for the team fight, so that's good news. But I do understand your point. There's probably better targets that you want to be death realming. Yukao has sort of quietly got himself to 3-0-0 though, and is very close to a death cap as his second item. So the LeBlanc is getting scary at a time where she needs to be. And Viper does have an advantage as far as CS.
Yeah, we talked about how Griffin's team is a bit better when it does come to the scaling. The only thing is that the Sylas is beginning to get pretty scary on the side of SEORABEOL. I'm actually more worried about him than even the MF. But yeah, I mean, you look at Yukao, very far ahead, most CS in the game, most kills in the game. And then you have Mord and, well, I don't know what we're looking at when we look at Mord's item build. Like, Wit's Ends? He's going, what, on-hit Mordekaiser? Like,
maybe he is playing the on-hit Mordekaiser like Ixu did.
I guess so.
That is,
I'm not sure if that's the
most recent successful build from Mordekaiser.
Okay. Yeah.
Tarzan looking for a bit of damage here. Does get the dazzle, but Tarzan didn't move it to the right position. It was perfectly done there from Wadid, but like Wadad. Yeah. Now Tarzan with control vision. Tal, he's picked up a Death Realm of his own. Sword lying on the flank. Will he be able to find an opportunity there as he gets the Death's Grasp over the wall? Oh, just flashing on in. They do put Sungin immediately into that Death Realm, but Sungin looks to be winning this fight for the moment. Nope, not going to happen as the Nashor's Tooth doing so much work there. Sword eventually goes down, but now without an ED carry, this could be the opportunity. Wadid going back, actually, trying to find Tal, but I don't know whether that was the right maneuver there as the Olaf takes down one, and Wadid eventually falls. And it's UCAL against the world once again.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great play by Sword, and then somehow the rest of Griffin messed it up, and they're going to give away the Mountain Soul here to SEORABEOL. So this is exactly what SEORABEOL needed with their composition. They're peaking here in the mid-game. They get the Mountain Soul early on because the Drakes were started so early by Kakao. And they might have just snowballed out of control. I mean, even after this engage where you totally negate the MF, like, how did they lose this? Great Cosmic Gradients again. It feels like UCAL, he's not doing enough consistent damage. He's too in and out. Like, he gets in there at the end, but for like a tiny bit of damage, the first thralls are doing way too much. The Lissandra is just proving to be actually a really good pick today.
Yeah, of course, she's always been extremely good in team fights and things like that, but feels like Griffin are playing right into her hands in a lot of ways as well. So to see what can happen as this game moves on. Now they're faced up against this Mountain Soul. But it's not exactly a team that is able to utilize it super well. There is Azonya's Hourglass on to Dan Chung, and Kakao is going to eventually build some defensive items, I expect. He has, I believe, Adaptive Helm on the way.
Yeah, got a decent amount of resistances there.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, this comp, they need to hold on for like another 5-6 minutes, I'd say. The Elder Drake fight is going to be a little bit iffy because I would expect not much action going into that fight. But I think that Viper and UCAL just got to play better. Like, that last fight was not a good look for either of the carries on their side. Like, it was Sword that was trying super hard to carry them, and of course Wadid. I mean,
yeah.
We talked about him so much, but
Wadid, like, by himself, zoned Tal out of that fight entirely. Yes. Like, I think maybe if the Fate Scroll had been used in a different direction, we could have had a better situation, but that's not for me to judge, because, of course, I don't know the incredible amounts that Wadid does. And I'm not even going to pretend that I do.
Yeah. It's just, you know, if Sword is going to pull off a play like that, carry you guys, you gotta respect that and help them out. As they're starting the Baron now, this is on Vision.
Yep, Kakao has a 3-level advantage, so it isn't very fair, as Tal does, of course, have Death Realm as well. And now got a very late teleport to come in. Tarzan going to be put into that Death Realm right now. As Sword gets on over, it is the Baron secured. As now Tarzan with the Cosmic Radiance Wadid with the 5-head plays once again. But is it going to be enough, or are they just too far behind? The Facebreaker's Gigantic Viper stays alive for a very long time, but Wadid has fallen. UCAL eventually goes down, and this game, my friend, is over.
The game should be over from here. Griffin, unfortunately, not able to put it together here at the last moment as Viper against Kakao. Just got to dunk him one last time with the Jin Air.
Jin Air flag, I love it. Oh, that's so good.
Now, they're just going to push down the mid lane here. They picked up the Baron, they picked up the Mountain Soul, and they don't need anything else here. They were able to perfectly spike their composition here in the mid game and outplay Griffin in multiple team fights in a row.
Yeah. Maybe Griffin was distracted by how handsome Wadid was on his Taric, which would make some sense, but you can see that SEORABEOL Gaming, they certainly weren't distracted at all. This was a shellacking in the end, 28 minutes, and 17-6 is going to be that kill score, a 10,000 gold lead, a Mountain Soul, Sandbox Gaming, Humble Life, Jin Air Green Wings.
Yep.
We're representing everyone here on SEORABEOL's side, and we'll see whether they're going to be able to get themselves to their own flair by promoting into the LCK.
Yep, there you do have it. as they do take the victory this time around. Lots of happy faces on their sides, dancing.
Yeah. And I do want to talk about Dan Chung because once again he has a difficult laning phase, but his teamfight control was actually fantastic.
Yeah.
And SEORABEOL Gaming just won every teamfight that they entered into against a composition from Griffin that is difficult to teamfight. Cosmic Radiance really throws a spanner in those works, as there is the mastermind himself, Wadid, who made sure he gave us as many games as possible.
Yeah.
While he was
like
playing. So now we get to learn another champion.
Yeah.
He's just so generous.
Of course, player of the game will go to Wadid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There really wasn't anyone on the side of SEORABEOL that could have reached his level of performance.
Or intellect. Yeah.
Yes. Or handsomeness.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget.
And I mean, they may have won the game, but did they really win?
I mean, they don't have Wadid on their team.
Yeah,
so.
see? That's called not winning the offseason.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Griffin, big pickup.
Yeah.
Understatement of the century.
Absolutely gigantic. In all honesty, actually is a pretty big pickup, to be perfectly honest. I don't think iRove was the kind of voice that Wadid is on that team. This is me being actually serious now, guys. I think that iRove wasn't able to have that level of authority. Of course, the amount of experience that Wadid has as well. So able to now get like an extra voice into the squad and give them a little bit more of that cohesion. And so far, in game number 1 worked. We'll see whether they can tidy it up for game number 3 as we have a look at some of these highlights.
It was UCal getting pretty far ahead, but then everything else going wrong as multiple pickoffs happen. Really liked the composition. Look at that zone, it's so good.
The zoning flash, just amazing stuff.
Made him step into the trundle instead of away.
Yep. And then took down the ward as well. I mean, it was straight back to business after that. Let's have a look at that. Fate's Call onto one target that then gets Fate's Called back as well. And this Cosmic Radiance was actually amazing. But Lysandra says that she just doesn't care about it. That's the problem. I feel like the Lysandra in these team fights counted everything that Griffin were trying to do.
Yeah. Sangin, he didn't have the best game, but still was able to auto-attack a decent amount.
Yeah.
In the later stages, even if every single one of his ults didn't go wide.
Is this about to be the one that we remember? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And it hit Starzan a little bit.
It hit his bat, I think.
Yeah. Definitely a much better time than that one. It didn't end up mattering as Tal is able to dog him down through the lane. Viper, that is. That's what it tried his best to save his life. Could not do it. And this was a great opening from Sword. They also get LeBlanc on the backside. I feel like UCal got ahead and then he just sat there. He's like, yeah. It's like he was so scared to take any AoE damage that he just didn't do any damage of his own.
I really like Dan Chung's positioning in this fight as well. It meant the Viper couldn't do any damage unless he walked right on top of a Lysandra that's then easily able to lock her down. Lysandra pick really smart as the Olaf was able to secure this Baron. And this was a game of SEORABEOL Gaming just taking absolutely everything that they wanted around this map. I think they didn't concede even one of the neutral objectives. And you have to remember, guys, that this is SEORABEOL Gaming. This is the #1 seed coming out of Challenger. We've already had team dynamics handedly 2-0 Sandbox Gaming.
Yeah.
So these are teams that are of LCK caliber, at least on the lower ebb, right? So we were expecting SEORABEOL to win this series. I think I was expecting a 2-0. I think you were as well, Valdez. So it is definitely fantastic of Griffin to be able to take one game, but now SEORABEOL with some extra momentum look to move forward and try and lock down a game number 3. We'll see whether Wadid has enough to say that it's going to deter that.
Yeah, and whoever does lose today, of course, they're not out of it just yet. They have tomorrow to play in the losers bracket and the winners bracket as well.
Yep.
And so you can see them tomorrow. And Silas did do a lot of damage that time around. He and the Misfortune putting it all together in the damage department, but it did feel like Dan Chung was kind of the MVP of that one for me.
MVP of the team fights, absolutely. I think laning phase-wise and cleanup, Tao was brilliant. And I think Woodid definitely got player of the game for this series. So we are going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we get back, we'll see what Woodid is going to teach us on his next supportive choice. Don't go anywhere.